Trading Mind talks warmly, welcomes you. If someone asks me, what is trading? I wouldn't answer with a definition from a book. I wouldn't show you colorful charts or throw around complicated jargon. I would simply say, please, let me tell you a story. A story that isn't glamorous. A story not meant for the faint of heart. It is my own story. A journey where every step leaves a mark. Sometimes a scar, sometimes a lesson. A journey you can only truly understand when you've walked it yourself. I'm a mechanical and electrical engineer. I'm 42 years old. I first learned about trading around 2018. Back then, I knew absolutely nothing about it. A friend suggested I try commodity trading, maybe oil. The name itself sounded strange to me, but they said it was an easy way to make money. All I needed was just a $1,000 initial deposit. I didn't know much about how the market really worked, but I had confidence, or at least I thought I did. The feeling was hard to put into words, a rush of excitement, like I had just discovered my own treasure. I thought to myself, trading really is easy money. All I have to do is sit here, click a few buttons, and cash comes in. So I deposited more of this time for $1,000. I wanted to place even bigger oil trades. Day 2, day 3, I was still winning, but the profits started shrinking. Sometimes it was $100, sometimes $50, and sometimes just a few bucks. My profits were shrinking, but the costs stayed the same. I began to worry, yet I still tried to trust my mentor. On the 4th day, he told me to open 2 more trades. I followed his advice, and this time I lost $400 in just 2 minutes. My heart was pounding, my mind confused, but I was still trying to stay calm. The next day, my mentor didn't message me at all. I started acting on my own. I opened an oil trade, and it quickly dropped to negative $300. I began to panic, but I didn't dare close the trade. I thought, I can't let it end like this. So, I opened 2 more trades, hoping the price would reverse. But the market didn't care about my hopes. The price kept falling, and within an hour, my account had lost over $2,500, leaving just a few $100s. Unbelievable, a brutal hit to my naive thinking. I sat there, devastated, sweat pouring down my face as if I had just taken a shower, even though it was under 54 degrees Fahrenheit outside. I stared at the computer screen, unable to believe what had just happened. What was this? How could it happen so fast? I had lost almost everything in less than a week. It was my first true shock on this trading journey. After that crushing loss, I never looked at another chart again. I went back to my regular job, as if trading had never been a part of my life. But deep inside, something still lingered. A scar that hadn't healed, a dream that hadn't faded. So I began searching again, this time with more caution. I read about indicators, SIMA, Bollinger Bands, Fibonacci. I learned how to mark zones, draw trend lines, and identify support and resistance. I asked myself, did I fail because I lacked knowledge? Was it because I lacked discipline? I spent hours watching videos, reading materials, studying trading psychology and risk management. I told myself, maybe last time I just wasn't ready. This time I would be careful. One day, while doing my research, I stumbled upon a gold trading group. They often posted screenshots showing daily profits. $1,000, $2,000, even $5,000 on some days. Their invitation sounded professional, We have a clear, expert analysis team, and I thought, maybe it wasn't just about discipline. If I truly follow stop loss and take profit rules, maybe I could be profitable. After more than 3 months away from trading, I deposited $2,000. Not a huge account, but enough to restart the dream. This time, I chose gold, guided by the group of so-called expert analysts. For the first 2 weeks, I followed their instructions exactly, entered at the right points, set clear stop-loss and take profit levels. There were moments when trades went into the red, but in the end, they would still hit the take-profit target. I made nearly $300 in 2 weeks. Not a big amount, but at that time, it was a ray of light for me. I was happy. I thought I had finally found the right path, and that this time, I could go much further. But things didn't go as I thought. On the 3rd week Friday, the fateful day, at 2 p.m., the group signaled a gold buy as the price showed a slight dip. I entered one trade. The price kept dropping, down nearly $30 in the red. I stayed calm because the group said, "This is a support zone, the price will bounce." I waited until 4 p.m. The price was still low, now over $100 in the red. They called it a beautiful buy zone and told us to open more trades to average the price and prepare for a strong recovery. I followed their advice, not knowing I was walking straight into a trap. That night, the US non-farm payroll report was released, a massive news event capable of shaking the entire market. But I didn't know that. All I knew was to wait for the price to return to my entry point. At 7:30 p.m., a giant red candle dropped, and in just 30 seconds, my account was wiped out. Not a single dollar left. No trades left. No capital left. No hope left. I sat there, eyes fixed on the screen, hands trembling, heart racing. It all happened so fast. I couldn't even process what had just taken place. No one stepped in to help. No one explained anything. The people who were once so enthusiastic were now silent. No one took responsibility. No one admitted fault. It was just me, and an empty account. That's when I finally realized my group wasn't made up of real traders. They were simply earning commissions from my trades. Whether I won or lost, they didn't care, because they risked nothing. The lesson I took away was no longer about skill. It was about trust. Trading is your own game. It's an action where you, and only you, bear the responsibility from start to finish. No one can save you. No group can guarantee steady profits. No signal is truly magical. And above all, no one will feel the pain of losing your money, except you. I had lost $2,000, but the bigger loss was losing faith in myself. I thought I had grown wiser, but in reality, I had simply repeated the same mistakes. To account blowouts, to deep cuts in my heart, and yet, strangely, I still couldn't walk away from the charts. It was like an addiction, just the soft click of the mouse, and the rush in my heartbeat. As the numbers danced on the screen, I kept telling myself, this time will be different. This time I'll be disciplined. I'll set stop losses, never hold losing trades, only enter when there's a clear signal. But theory is always beautiful, until the market truly starts to move. I had no money left, but I still wanted to keep playing. I wanted to make it back, to recover what I had lost. So I borrowed money from my sister. I lied to her. I need an account to cover medical expenses. I'll pay you back in a month or 2. After our conversation, she believed me and transferred $3,000. I accepted the money with trembling hands. knowing that this time it wasn't mine. It was the money of someone who trusted me. But what mattered more was that I used even higher leverage than before, not because I lacked knowledge, but because my ego had grown. I was no longer trading to learn. I was trading to prove to myself that I wasn't as stupid as the last 2 times, to prove to my friends that I could actually make money from this clicking the mouse job, and somewhere deep down, to prove to my wife that she was right to believe in me. I started placing more trades, no longer just 2 trades a day like before, but 5, then 10, then 20 until I couldn't even keep count anymore. Every time I won, the excitement was overwhelming. Every time I lost, it felt like a slap in the face, like a deep wound to my pride. I called it recovering my losses, but in reality, I was just trying to beat the market. There were days when I made $300, but I didn't think about cashing out or stopping early. All I thought about was the $4,000 I had lost before and the $3,000 debt I had just borrowed. I told myself, keep going, it's still far from enough to pay it off. And then, simply because I didn't know when to stop, I lost it all again, not because I lacked skills, but because I lacked discipline. I knew exactly what I should have done, but I didn't do it. I could have closed the trade early, but I held on to hope. I could have taken a break, but I pushed for just one more trade, and in the end, that led to a losing streak. Of all the things I was facing, delusion was the only one that always seemed to win, while the money in my account kept slipping away. Then, one afternoon, the market was moving sideways, with no clear trend. I stared at the chart, trying to draw out a signal to enter a trade. I knew full well I shouldn't enter, but I still did. The first trade went negative, so I opened another one to make up for the loss. Then another, and another, and another until I lost count of how many trades I'd taken. In the end, my account was completely wiped out. I sat there in silence, staring at the balance list. I didn't feel sad. I didn't shout, just a faint smile. Just a faint smile, the smile of someone who had just lost to himself. It wasn't the pain of losing money anymore, but the pain of knowing I was wrong and still pushing forward. The most painful trades aren't the ones where you lose money, they're the ones where you lose to your own discipline. That night, I didn't touch my phone, didn't turn on the lights. I just sat there alone in a pitch-black room without a single sound. I stared up at the ceiling and asked myself, what the hell am I doing with my life? Trading was no longer the dream of changing my life. It had become a silent battle between me and the weak side of myself, and I was still losing. If you're still listening, maybe something in my story is resonating with you. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and share this video, because somewhere out there, someone might need to hear this just as much as you did. One night, I sat staring at my account, watching it evaporate until there were only a few dollars left. I felt drained, no hope, no anger, just emptiness. And then, in my weakest moment, I picked up my phone and texted an old friend. Someone I knew had been trading for over 2 years. He had never bragged or posted about it online, but I knew he was still making a living from it. I asked him a question that felt like it came straight from my chest. How come you can make money, but I can't? I've learned everything, but I still lose. He replied with one short sentence like a slap in the face. Because you're not trading, you're gambling. I froze. I had nothing to say. But deep down, I knew he was right. I began to look back at my trades. Every single one was driven by emotion. If the price went up, I'd jump in to buy. If it dropped, I'd jump in to sell. I had no clear reason for pressing that button each time. I didn't set stop losses. I didn't keep a trading journal. My money management was practically non-existent. I called it trading, but in reality, I was playing a game of chance. A game I thought I was smart enough to win, but the market was far smarter than me. And then, for the first time, I stopped asking, how can I win faster? Instead, I asked a different question, one that changed everything. How can I survive? I started learning all over again, but this time I no longer searched for teams to join, no longer hunted for strategies or indicators from online groups. Once again, I focused on building my own trading system, something I had never truly cared about before. I wrote down clear entry rules, when to get in and when to stay out. I learned how to manage my capital, risking only 1 to 2% per trade, and setting stop losses at reasonable levels. Not too close, not too far. Planned my take profits, not to score big wins, but to stay consistent. And most importantly, I started keeping a trading journal. At the end of each day, I didn't just record the trades themselves. I wrote down my emotions and why I took each trade. Was I afraid? Was I expecting too much? When I won, was I chasing illusions? When I lost, did I lose control? Every line in my journal reflected exactly who I was in this market. And I realized one thing: without a system, you're just a lost prey. The market is not a path paved with luck. It's a pack of wolves. It doesn't need too much information to take you down. All it takes is your complacency. All it takes is overconfidence, and you've already put your head right into the wolf's mouth. In the past, I used to ask, why is the market so deceptive to me? Now, I only ask, where did I go wrong in my system? Because I've come to understand, trading doesn't require you to be right 100% of the time. It only requires that you know how to manage yourself when you're wrong. And you can only do that if you have a clear system. That's when I realized something. Knowledge helps you know what to do, but psychology decides whether you can actually do it. So I began training my mind. I limited the number of trades I took each day. I kept my emotions in check, making sure they didn't spiral out of control. I kept an emotional journal after every trading session, writing down what I feared, what I hoped for, and I focused on following the plan instead of chasing short-term wins or losses. Because if you want to beat the market, you must first beat yourself. When I first stepped into trading, all I saw was the glamour, bright green trades, laptop shots from coffee shops, beaches, and the promise of a free, comfortable lifestyle. But no one told me that behind every photo might be a sleepless night, or days of consecutive losing trades, or blown accounts that never get mentioned. No one told me that this profession can be lonely. No boss, no co-workers, just you opening your laptop every morning, making your own decisions, and of course, bearing all the consequences yourself. No one told me that there would be months when I wouldn't make a single dollar, or that just one losing trade could wipe out all the profits I had worked days to earn. And the most important thing, trading is a profession where your tuition is paid in real money. No one pays it for you. It's just you, the screen, and the market. There was a time I dreamed of growing my account tenfold. I used to think that if I could just land one big win at the right time, my life would change. But then I saw traders who scored huge wins on a single trade, only to lose it all because they had no strategy for long-term survival. I began to understand. A trader's career is not built on one winning trade, but on consistent performance over hundreds of trades. The best traders are not the ones who win big once, but the ones who can make money steadily over the long run. From that moment on, I shifted my mindset. I no longer thought about winning one trade to change my life. Instead, I focused on finding high-probability trades, managing risk well, and making capital protection my top priority. Trading isn't a sprint. It's a marathon, and the one who survives the longest is the one who wins. I used to think that strategy and knowledge were everything. But the longer I've been in this game, the more I've realized it's not strategy, it's not knowledge, it's discipline that decides whether you survive. I once broke my system just because I lost a few trades in a row. I fell into FOMO, lost discipline, and burned my account. It only took one lesson to understand. Losing discipline even once is enough to take away everything you've built. From then on, I focused intensely on discipline. Every trade had a clear reason, a defined stop loss, and a defined take profit. If I was wrong, I stopped. I didn't hold on to losing trades. I didn't open revenge trades. I understood that discipline doesn't guarantee you'll win, but without discipline, you're guaranteed to lose. Trading is not a game. It's an action plan. And to survive, you need knowledge, a system, the right mindset, and discipline. Because in this market, no one is feared. I've come to understand something deeply important. Trading is a path not meant for the majority. It's not rosy, it's not easy, and it is absolutely not something everyone can endure to the end. Trading is a grueling journey. It tests you on the deepest and most brutal levels. It's when you see red trades, a negative balance, and still have to remain cold and calm. It's when you're losing badly and want desperately to make it back. But logic forces you to stop. It's the faith you must hold when everyone around you doubts you, and in the end, realizing that the only person you truly need to believe in is yourself. Trading doesn't promise you anything. No guarantees. No fixed monthly salary. No one holding your hand and guiding you step by step. It's just you, sitting in front of the screen, facing the market, and facing one single choice every day. Keep going or stop. But if you choose to keep going, do it with clarity, with honesty, and with relentless perseverance, because only then will you start learning the lessons that no classroom can ever teach you: how to make clear decisions in the most chaotic moments, how to control your emotions when your mind is in panic, and most importantly, how to have the courage to face yourself. Trading doesn't promise you anything. No guarantees, no fixed monthly salary, no one holding your hand and guiding you step by step. It's just you, sitting in front of the screen, facing the market, and facing one single choice every day. Keep going or stop. But if you choose to keep going, do it with clarity, with honesty, and with relentless perseverance, because only then will you start learning the lessons that no classroom can ever teach you: how to make clear decisions in the most chaotic moments, how to control your emotions when your mind is in panic, and most importantly, how to have the courage to face yourself. If you're still at the very beginning of your trading journey, I'm not here to tell you to quit, and I'm not here to cheer you on to keep going no matter what. I just want you to pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and honestly ask yourself, is trading truly the right path for you? If the answer is yes, then don't rush. Don't go looking for the shortest way. Move slowly, but make sure you move wisely, without illusions, because in trading, only steady progress, little by little, every single day, can keep you alive long enough in this market. Thank you so much for listening. and walking alongside me in this story. If you see yourself somewhere in the journey I've shared, leave a comment, so we both know we're not as alone as we might think. And if you want to keep exploring with me, to uncover more dark corners, hard-earned lessons, and truths about trading that no one talks about, I'll see you in the next video. But remember this: survive first, and only then think about success.